So, goals of financial management, that is what we have been discussing. We started last class with profit maximization. We have discussed the both aspects, that is, your favorable arguments and unfavorable arguments. Let's look at the second one. What is wealth maximization? Let's look at the meaning of it. It is the process of increasing the shareholders' wealth by maximizing the market value of the firm's common stock. What is common stock here? Equity shares. Okay. Now, in general, if I have to tell you what wealth maximization is, now back then the traditional approach, every business just wanted to make profits, right? Just wanted to maximize their income or earnings. Now, over the period of time, because there's so many competitors now and there's so many industries and participants in the market, they now companies want themselves to be known in the market or to be having have you come across the word something called as reputation of the company, goodwill of the company? That is what wealth maximization is a part of. Okay, so making sure my company is well known, or my company is the leader in the industry, is the leader in the among the participants in my industry. In the software industry, let's say Infosys is the leading company, or Infosys is the leader company in the software industry, at least in South India. Okay, so likewise, every company wants to grow or wants to become a larger company or being the leader of the market over the period of time. Now, how can I achieve this? Number one, I need to have my profits in hand over the years of time. Second, I also need to make sure that my earnings per share, that is, the dividends available to my equity shareholders, is increasing over the period of time or maximizing over the period of time. What happens when EPS increases? If I am the shareholder, if my EPS increases, that is equal to what? My wealth is increasing. Yes or no? So wealth maximization is the maximizing the value of equity shares, otherwise called as what? Common stock. Now there's an example that I've written here, Infosys company. Now, this company was an initiator or a pioneer in the software industry in India. It had started in the early 90s. Early 90s, India had no idea about what is software technology, how is there a career in a software technology, etc. Got it? Entire Indian economy was unaware of it. But Infosys company took a giant leap, or it began a software company in India. Now, when nobody knows about what is software, how does it deal with, would any of you be interested in investing into that company? Right? Neither would I be interested in investing into the company, which is a very brand new company, a brand new concept called a software industry, right? But this company actually opened up their capital by taking capital from the public, meaning equity shareholders, right? I'm taking money from the public in the form of equity shares. Now, back then, I'm talking about early 90s when Infosys had started. Of course, many people didn't come forward to invest into the company, but only very few taking up a risk started investing into Infosys company. Let's say at that point of time, the per share was rupees 50. Right, today in today's terms, if I'm talking about 50 rupees, I'm sure it is nothing, right? But at I'm talking about early 90s, 50 rupees is a lot of money for an individual or for a person in the family, right? Now, back then when they had invested rupees 50 per share and they started earning dividends, slowly the company did develop. Slowly the company did become a profitable company or notable company. Today, what you see, Wipro, Infosys, Accenture, or many other companies, right? Started with what? Infosys. Today, India is called the IT hub. Bangalore, especially, is called as what? The IT world or the IT hub. There are so many IT companies Bangalore has given birth to. Yes or no? So, therefore, over the period of time, now compared to the day it started, what is the market price of the equity share to today? What is the market price of the equity share of Infosys company? It is a giant increase. Now, let's say when I started, how much was my investment? 50 rupees. Today, if you can look into the market price, I'm sure it has crossed more than 1000. Okay, now from 50 rupees, it has increased to 1000. Did it happen overnight? Did it happen within a short span of time? No. It happened over a time period. It took n number of years for what Infosys started to where Infosys stands now. It took time, right? So that is what wealth maximization is talking about. It is talking about long term planning. It terms about long term planning. So for my wealth to increase, it will take time, or it will take n number of years for my company to develop, to be a well known competitor, to be a good participant, a good competitor in my respective industry, and to grow. My goodwill is increasing, my reputation is increasing, and my business activities are increasing, and on the effect, my EPS, earnings per share, is increasing. So I've given you a live example what is wealth maximization. The best company here is what? Infosys, that I can explain to you. Let's look at the favorable arguments. The first one is serves the interest of the society. Now, you also seen that in order for the public to remember your company, or public to have trust upon your company, or faith or goodwill upon your company, that means you have to some or the other way contribute towards the society, contribute towards the development of the society. Yes or no? There are so many companies in the form of social activity, right? Social activity they're contributing in terms of maintaining parks, in terms of contributing towards the avoiding of pollution, or avoiding of disposal of waste materials into the water bodies. Or Infosys came up with Nirmala toilets, if you can remember, right? Somehow they're contributing towards the society. So that way the first favorable argument is serves the interest of society. Second one, long term planning. I just told you, if you need to maximize your wealth, I'm not looking at the current year or the current financial year how much I'm earning. I'm always looking at 10 years down the line. Number 3, considers time value of money. As I told, profit maximization, if you can look at the unfavorable arguments, it does not consider risk, it does not consider the time value of money. But your wealth maximization, if later you'll be dealing with chapters of investment decisions, financing decisions, that I will only regard cash flows and not profit at the end of the year. What is cash flows? Cash flows are the periodical inflows of money at several intervals of time. Like month of January, how much is my cash inflow? Month of Feb, month of March. So I'm looking at a smaller intervals and I'm checking at the time period. So I will be considering the fourth point, the risk and uncertainty. Right now, profit, one of the unfavorable arguments, it what? It leads to corrupt practices, or it attracts competition. Now here, in order for my wealth to be maximized, I need to consider what are my possible risks in the upcoming years. Where is that challenging point for my company that I really need to pay interest to? Where is my investment getting wasted? Where can my investment get doubled up, right, or increase at the short period of time? So I need to consider the risk aspect. As I'm considering what will my benefit, I also need to consider what is my risk aspect. So uncertainty. Now today is the exact, or this scenario that we are going through, the entire pandemic or the lockdown effect is what? Did any of us plan about it? No, right? It was completely uncertain or completely unknown to us, and it did occur, and we had to face it, or we had to get affected by it. So companies had to be what? Be prepared for facing such issues. Now you have seen that so many companies, how are they managing without much business activities? Have you remembered the word that you have written in your balance sheet? General reserve, transfer to reserve. What is that? That is a part of profit being transferred into reserve. For what reason? To manage your uncertainty. You understood? To manage your future uncertainties or any unknown happenings from today. The time you earn profits, you're setting aside a sum of amount. Same way as I'm sure our parents would have been setting aside from their total earnings as a savings for what? To meet emergencies. Yes or no? It can be a medical emergency or any kind of emergency. They set aside always an amount. Same wise, likewise, even the companies set aside money to what? To manage the risk and uncertainty. Number 5, large market share. As I told, the larger your wealth, right, the more your company would be well known and you would be the leader of the market or one of the leading companies in a particular industry. So wealth maximization favorable argument is what? I can have a larger market share. Let's imagine if more number of people know about your company, wouldn't you be more famous? Yes or no? Wouldn't the company be more famous or well known? Maybe you started in Bangalore. Overall, as your profit is increasing, your wealth is increasing, the entire South India, you're famous or well known for your business activities. Later, it is the entire India. And if that continues, if your company is having a profitable returns, you can even start what? Exporting goods. You can even start a market share apart from India as well, right? So wealth maximization serves the interest of the society. Long term planning considers the time value of money, it considers risk and uncertainty, and it focuses on what? Large market share. Let's look at the unfavorable arguments. First one, it is a perspective idea and not a descriptive idea. As I've always told, now whenever we are writing when we are registering our company documents, right? MOA, AOA, remember all of that documents? Formation of a company, right? Now there I'm always going to write down maximizing profit. Or whenever you're going to provide your final accounts, don't you show in your balance sheet or in your profit and loss account how much profits I'm earning? Yes or no? Gross profit, net profit. That is called as describing, right? Wealth maximization is a perspective idea and not a descriptive idea. Reason being, profits, how much profits I want to earn, how much turnover. Have you seen business CEOs talking about next year my target is to reach 100 million customers or 100 million rupees of profits? What am I doing? I am describing, I'm putting it to my document and making a report or a budget. Next year this is our target to reach. What is perspective on the other side? Perspective is just an idea, it's just my perspective, it's my idea or my perceivance about a certain concept. Right now I want to maximize my wealth, it's just my idea, it's just my ideology. I'm not going to write it down anywhere, I'm not going to mention it in any of my documents. It is a process that happens over the period of time. So unfavorable argument is it is a perspective idea and not a descriptive idea. Second point is conflict of interest, that is management versus owners. Now let's understand who are the owners. Now all of us know that equity shareholders are the owners of the company. Yes or no? So owners means equity shareholders. Who are the management? Management are the people who manage the money of owners. I repeat, who is the management? Management are the people who manage the financial resources or the investment given by whom? The owners, otherwise called as equity shareholders. Now, why is this conflict of interest coming? Now, management is going to look forward from the perspective of what? Company's perspective. Company must grow or company's profits must grow. So they might take certain financial decisions that might hamper or affect the dividend given to equity shareholders. Who are called as owners over here? Equity shareholders. Now equity shareholders are going to tell me their idea is that after 10 years where my company is going to stand, how much my company is going to earn profits, how much my wealth is going to maximize. I am not bothered about future. This year, this financial year, how much profits am I earning? That is all matters to me, right? Equity shareholders interest is few of them, not every company, I would say few companies, they would have the saying that this financial year if I'm going to earn profits, that is sufficient for me, and not 10 years down the line or in the future how much I'm going to earn, it's not going to bother to me. But there are going to be few people who are going to tell management, even though now you're going to earn lesser dividends or lesser profits, we are aiming at what? Wealth maximization. After a couple of years our company is going to grow big or our company is going to have a larger market share. So there is constantly a conflict of interest between what? management as well as owners. So these are the two unfavorable arguments about what? Wealth maximization. Okay, this is the favorable arguments, this is the unfavorable arguments. So this is a section C question. Explain the goals of financial management. You have to mention all the four. Okay, first one is profit maximization. Under that, 2 points: favorable, unfavorable. Next is second point, wealth maximization. Under that, 2 points: favorable and unfavorable. Hope you have understood the goals of financial management. The next topic is financial manager. Now, who is this person? He is the person who's going to make the prominent decisions regarding the financial resources of a particular company. Either it can be long term or it can be short term. He is the one who's going to take care of such resources decisions. Let's look at what are the functions of financial management. First one is to estimate the financial requirement. If you remember the meaning on the first slide, what is financial management? If you remember, it is the process of plan, organize, and control. You remember the first word over there, plan. So before I start my business, I need to have an idea how much money do I need, or how much capital do I require to invest into my company. So your first function is what? Estimation, or plan my financial requirements. Second one, selection of the right sources of funds. That means, are there many sources of funds? Yes, there's debenture, there's equity, there is preferential capital, there is loan, there is so many other sources of funds. It is financial manager's duty to what? Choose or select the right sources of funds. Number 3 is allocation of funds. Now the third point here is allocating. So let's say I've gathered, I want rupees 10 lakh, and that 10 lakh rupees I've gathered through equity, through preference, and through debenture. So my capital has been gathered how much rupees? 10 lakh. Now in that 10 lakh, it is my duty as a financial manager to allocate the funds. Let's say out of that 5 lakh rupees I'm going to invest in what? Purchase of fixed assets. Rest of the 5 lakh I'm going to keep 2 lakh as reserves and 3 lakh as working capital management. You understanding? The entire 10 lakh I'm breaking down into various functions: purchase of fixed assets, reserves, and working capital management. Number 4, analysis and interpretation of financial performance. So I need to understand and analyze how are my assets performing? How is my investment performing? Is it giving me the promised returns? Yes or no? So I need to constantly what? Analyze my investments and make a interpretation, meaning make a report. Okay, for the last 1 year, how is my asset performing? How is my investment performing? Is it giving me the promised return on investment, right? How much is it deviating from the promised return? I'm going to make a report. Interpretation means what? I'm going to observe and interpret by making a report. Number 5, analysis of cost volume profit. Now cost volume profit is an entire chapter, that is investment decisions, that we are going to be studying, right? There, if you can remember the syllabus where I gave an overview, that is payback period, net present value, accounting rate of return, internal rate of return, etc. So these are the various methods where I will analyze the cost, volume, profit. So how much of my investment will give me how much of my return or profit? I'm going to analyze project A, project B, project C, and then make a decision which project is the best. Okay, that are the 5 functions. Sixth one, capital budgeting. Now capital budgeting is also, I need to make sure how much of capital I require at what particular time period. And seventh one, working capital management, or I would say how much of equity do I require, how much of capital in terms of debenture do I require, or should I take in the form of loan? Yes or no? So capital budgeting is to make sure that I procure the right amount of capital, because I also need to require to check whether my company is financially capable. Whether my company is what? Financially capable of paying back the interest. Right? It is easy to get a loan from a bank or from a financial institution. My challenge is whether I will be paying my EMIs on time, right? Whether my financial activities or business activities will have enough cash flow for me to pay back. So when I'm planning the budget of my capital, I also need to analyze what? My paying back capacity or my capacity to repay the interest. Number 7 is working capital management. That is the capital required to what? To meet your day-to-day expenditure. Got it? So working capital, I need to, as a manager, need to analyze how much money do I require. Now this will depend on if you're a small scale company, you're a large scale company. Accordingly, my working capital will differ. Profit planning and control. Now, as I always told, every meeting, that general body meeting that management will hold or equity shareholders are going to have, they have to plan what is the profit margin I have to reach or I'm going to look forward. What is the profits that I'm looking forward to reach? What is my target? Every company, whenever they're going to begin the financial year, the next financial year, they're going to plan how much target am I going to reach, how much margin is my profit. Okay, so therefore I'm also going to control by not wasting my investment. Control is to what? Not wasting my investment, or unnecessary expenditure is to be avoided. That decisions is to be taken care by the financial manager. Number 9, fair returns to shareholders. At the end of the day, whoever has invested money into the company, they expect a return. Yes or no? If you are a shareholder, let's say you have put 1,000 rupees into the company, right, as an equity share investment, wouldn't you expect a return on that investment? Yes or no? So the primary motive of the financial manager must be what? To give a fair return to shareholders. So whatever money they have put into the company, they deserve a fair shareholding or a fair dividend in the form of return to their shareholders. Number 10, maintaining liquidity and wealth maximization. As I told, there should be enough liquid cash that is able to dispose of or to meet your creditors or to meet your day-to-day payments. How much liquid cash is required for a company? Again, this is going to differ from company to company. For a manufacturing company, the liquidity may be less. For a trading company, the liquidity may be high, because for manufacturing company, you need much money. What you require, or you invest into a asset or a bigger machinery, and the process of production will keep going. You will not have a regular payment types. Yes or no? But for as a trading company, it's a constant trade. You don't invest into fixed assets over here. Pay attention, in trading companies, you don't invest much amount in or much money in buying fixed assets. If you go to a normal retail shop, let's say provisional stores, you need more money for liquidity or working capital rather than what? A long term capital, because it's just one complete room or a complete shop where a lot of items are kept. So right there, you do not have to invest in your fixed assets, but you need to invest in your current assets. So maintaining liquidity and wealth maximization will differ from company to company depending upon the size of the company, the nature of the company, etc. Okay, so we have learned 4 slides today. Wealth maximization, what is the favorable arguments, unfavorable, who is a financial manager, and what are the functions of financial management.